It is the Matt Mosley Show. We're off and running. And Scotty Swingler, he's been in meetings. I've been in meetings. We've been doing all our various things this morning to prepare for the big show. 1 to 3 today. All right, 1:10 to 3. We've got people delaying us today. It's okay. All right. But we're rolling, and we're happy to have you come inside today. And we're going to have some interesting Baylor discussions. I believe Cam Stewart will be running by about 2:20 today, 2:15 or 2:20. Cam, you never can tell. Cam has something he's doing at 1:30. That scares me. Because that could certainly go long. But we'll see. Scotty and I. We have a lot to discuss on Baylor. Scotty, I don't feel like I got yesterday a chance to do as much as I wanted to do, like around the rest of the league, around the rest of the NFL. I've got things to share there. And I guess as much as I hate this, I mean, we got to start taking the Colts seriously. I mean, there are people calling the Indianapolis bleeping Colts the best team in football right now. Huh? Really? Okay, I guess so. I mean, it's kind of like, but again, it's everything from the Hoosier State. You know, I doubted the Indiana Hoosiers and Signetti, and boom, they went up there and put a lump on the head of the great Dan Lanning up there in the land of the duck. So right now, everything coming out of that state is roses, except for Purdue. Purdue is always rough. But is that in Indiana? I feel like it might be. All right, Hoosiers, though, they're number 2 in the country. And they got a guy that's right there up there for the Heisman, up there just right in the midst of the Heisman race, Fernando Mendoza. But these Colts are I mean, it's scary how good they look. And that Shane Steichen, every once in a while, a lot of times we'll say in college football even, these assistants don't always work out. Okay, all right, well, I guess unless they came from, Alabama staff, unless we're talking about Kirby Smart, unless we're talking about Dan Lanning being on Smart staff, unless we're talking about Dillingham being on whatever staffs he was on. I mean, so again, we got to be careful because a lot of times we'll be like, you can't go hire one of these because like right now, since everybody's down on Dave Aranda, it's kind of like, these assistants, and same thing in the NFL. You're like, these hot offensive coordinators and defense coordinators aren't always that great. And that's true. But you know what? Some of them have to start somewhere. And Steichen, the coach of the Colts, looks pretty good to me right now. Sirianni, I mean, he was, these guys were all on a staff somewhere. I mean, they were all top, coordinators somewhere, and they got elevated. And Sirianni's won a dang Super Bowl. Steichen has taken Daniel Jones, and turned that team into a juggernaut. You go, well, they got a great running back. Okay. Well, that certainly helps. All right. The Eagles had a great running back. They won a Super Bowl. Colts have a great running back right now. And Jonathan Taylor, and they're monsters. They're just kind of blowing up the rest of the league. Now, before we decide to just hand over the AFC to the Indianapolis Colts, I mean, we might ought to remind folks that the Chiefs seem to be pretty good right now. Chiefs are starting to find their footing. They got Rashee Rice back, fast and furious, the man who lights up freeways just as fast as he lights up opposing defenses. And Rashee Rice came back, immediately scored a touchdown. He's a weapon. You don't want to give them Kelsey and Rashee and Tyquan. And, man, you give Mahomes that many weapons, it's scary. All right, so they're pretty good. And last night, thank goodness, Scotty, we had the last of the Monday Night Football dreaded double headers. I mean, my gosh, I'm up. I'm like, why am I watching Monday Night Football at like midnight? What's happening? Why am I at 11 o'clock at night? Why am I watching an NFL game? Oh, West Coast? No, it didn't matter. I mean, you think Seattle hadn't had Monday night games that started at whatever time they're supposed to start, 7 or 7:30 over the years? Sure they have. But last night they decided to do the early game and then stagger it enough where you get to see almost all of the late game. All right. Early game Lions just did. I mean, hey, they're good. They're really good. Best team in the NFC right now? Maybe. Better than the Eagles. I mean, the Packers are pretty good, but the Lions put it right there on Tampa. And when they're going, and you got Jahmyr Gibbs, and you got Amon St. Brown, you got the receiver, you got Goff going, you got a great coach. They're rolling a little bit. So today we got several things for you, including we're going to react to some things that Jerry Jones had to say, and then we got some Trey Wingo. Who, maybe we'll just throw Trey right on the show. I mean, he'll come on with us anytime we want him to. Trey's doing a podcast. It seems like a good podcast. And he put out some breaking news today. But before I do that, Scotty, how are you, man? I've had Scotty he's been in meetings. He's jumped in. He's got some Jerry. He's been preparing some Jerry for us. But I would be remiss if I didn't at least check in with Scotty to see how he was doing to start today's program. Scotty, how are things? I mean, you tend to be a little chilly in those studios, which is why you have that same.
We also had a real nice cold front come in a couple nights ago, Matt. So it feels kind of nice in Central Texas right now.
Boy, this is the time when we can turn off, and it's the rare time in Texas where you just turn off the AC. Don't need the heater. You just turn it off and you save a little bit of money. We're not very good at this because we're people who love our cars and we love our AC maybe more than any place else in the country. But isn't it nice, Scotty? Just kind of turn that thing. Just like
I had the windows down on my way to work today.
What were you listening to? Were you listening to sports, or did you have some music playing? Did you have some CCM? Do they still have CCM?
No CCM. No, thank you. Shoot, it was a podcast, but I now am drawing blank on which podcast I was listening to.
Doomsday. Let's just call it the Doomsday podcast.
That's right.
Werder and Mosley. Now, Scotty, since I've got you with me, I mean, let's put this thing right up on the screen. Let's put this, Trey Wingo. And there it is, breaking. I mean, this was a couple of hours ago now. And I kind of, when you see someone you're not used to throwing out something quite like this, you're always like, okay, let's make sure this is Trey. And you're like, yeah, it's Trey.
It's actually him, yeah.
And even 2 hours ago, Scotty, 1.3 million views. Whoa, way to go, Trey. I mean, that by now that's probably up to about 1.7 million views. I mean, from time to time, Scotty, I'll have a tweet that, it'll jump up there well into the hundreds of thousands, but 1 million, ooh, that's pretty good. That's pretty aggressive. I had a great Scotty, and I'm not ever gonna. Someday I'll find it, because in the moment it was an incredible joke. Like, it landed and it got like well into like 800,000, maybe even more, but it was on January 6th. So as everything was happening at the Capitol, Scotty, I nailed a good, and it somehow involved either the Eagles or the Redskins, the team formerly known as the Redskins, and it landed, and it was like massive. And it was a good joke. And then, of course, as that day unfolded, we had some tragic events occur, right, at January 6th. So I think I think I had to do one of those deals where later that night I kind of just went up there and deleted the joke. But in the moment, it was like Mosley landed the joke. Okay, so this was good from Trey. And Scotty, you've had a few over the years where I'm sure in that moment you're like, I landed it, and then later you're like, I don't know if I feel great about this joke. But Scotty, put it back up there. I want to read this one. Wingo, according to sources, Cowboys have made inquiries with the Raiders about a potential trade for Max Crosby, double X Crosby. Whoa. Now, Jerry has said repeatedly that, and he was asked today about his trades, and we'll share some of what Jerry had to say, but we need to react to this because, I mean, first of all, Scotty, we need to look at the ramifications for like what that would look like, what it would take to get somebody like Max Crosby, what the Crosby contract looks like. Effectively, I think I was looking earlier and it said you could look at it almost as like a 2 years, 80 million type deal based on how that contract. Yeah, Scotty, while I'm talking about this, take a peek at Crosby's contract, please. But the way it was, I was looking at it, that was one way to look at it. Now, again, it's still going to take up a lot of it's a pretty large cap deal that you would be making. And the whole reason you didn't keep Micah, first of all, you thought of the ridiculous reason of, well, we're not that great on the run defense with Micah. Okay, but he's the greatest pass rusher of his generation. It would be a little bit weird to trade him, get all these picks, and then turn around and make another trade and bring back a guy considered one of the best pass rushers in the game. This is the name that I've heard the most often because the names that make the most sense when it comes to top pass rushers are players from bad teams, okay? Like, Myles Garrett from Cincinnati, from Cleveland, or like this guy from the Raiders. Raiders are dreadful. They lost the other day, 31-0. They got no chance, okay? And they just happen to have one of the better pass rushers in the game. So this makes some sense. It would also be weird to get a couple of first-round picks to make this massive trade with the Packers and then turn around and give up a lot to get a pass rusher. You got a lot for a pass rusher. So it's odd to just turn around and give up a ton for the pass rusher. Now, could you get him because he's got a big contract? Could you do it could you get him for a second and a fourth and something else? Or to get a major pass rusher like this, would you have to get, because think about this, Cowboys over the next 2 years, 4 first-round picks, their own 2 and the 2 they picked up, 4 first-round picks. Now, so you do have ammunition. You got 4 of these things. So what do you have to give up Max? What makes sense? Probably you could get him if you pick up the deal, the contract. You could probably get him for a first and a third, I think. Okay, and so then you still have 3 first-round picks left moving into these next 2 drafts. Would you do it? Is it worth it? Well, I mean, it would be humorous for a team that's like, oh, we're really good in the pass rush. We're fine. We can scheme this up, to have to go get somebody this magnitude. The other name I heard was it Simmons? No. What is the guy? There's a defensive lineman that's really good. I think he's from the Titans. There's another name I've heard out there that could be helpful. But I do find this entertaining to be like, Kenny Clark's unbelievable. Look at Kenny Clark. He's incredible. Kenny Clark, man, he's the best. But then they're going to go out and spend draft capital on bringing in a big-time defensive lineman that basically plays Kenny Clark's position. All right, don't tell me one thing. Then now, we haven't heard anybody from the Cowboys confirm that they, and this could be nothing more than just like a, inquiry. Could be, hey, how much would y'all want? How much? What I think the way Jerry wants it to happen, I think Jerry would try to deny this report. I don't know why the 105.3 had him on today and he was not asked specifically about it. And maybe because, it would be tampering or something. I don't know. But the Cowboys right now, Jerry's really shooting down most of this trade talk. And the only thing he's been willing to talk about is, hey, I would pick up the phone. We might hear from somebody trying to move somebody, but he's not acting like the Cowboys are going to get desperate and go looking for pass rushers or anything. All right, Scotty, come back in here, please. And what do you like? I mean, again, Max Crosby is a tremendous player. He's hugely productive. Is he as good as Micah Parsons? The answer in my book would be no. He's not that productive, but he's extremely productive player. I think we could call him a top 5 pass rusher in the NFL. If not, right there on the border. But in terms, Scotty, from what you've seen contract-wise, what would they be bringing back? And then what are your thoughts on Max Crosby, the player?
Yeah, his contract, he signed an extension in March. Contract goes through 2029. He is guaranteed $91.5 million. $106.5 million total between next season and 2029. So it's a big deal. I definitely agree he's a top 5 pass rusher in the NFL. And I actually think you could make the case that just in terms of pure pass rusher, he's as good as Micah Parsons. I think the difference is Micah Parsons is kind of a one-of-one player where you can put him at multiple positions along a defense and scheme him all over the field. Crosby is more, he's a defensive end. Like that's what he is. I do agree with you though. It would be strange to make the deal to ship Micah out only to make a deal half a season later to ship Crosby in. I think that would just add to a narrative that says Jerry didn't actually trade Micah. And some of us think this anyway. Jerry didn't trade Micah for any football reason, Matt. He traded Micah over what was being said publicly and his feelings being a certain kind of way.
Yeah. I think to your point, Micah, you're right. He's probably a little more versatile. He can rush from anywhere. He can actually cover. He can play off the ball, really. If you ask him to, he can cover tight ends. I mean, he's extremely versatile. To your point, Max might have more of a developed array of sort of pass rushing moves.
Yes.
And some counter techniques.
Yes.
And things like that we think of more as a pass rusher. In terms of pure athleticism and pure speed and all of that, you're going to take Micah over Max. But they're both good. They're both great. They both have plenty of athleticism.
We're literally talking about, I would say 2 of the 4 or 5 best, as you said. I mean, it's these 2 guys. It's Hutchinson, And it's the guy in Cincinnati, and it's Myles Garrett. I mean, it's those are kind of, and TJ Watt. I would say there's kind of 6 guys right there that are leaps and bounds above everyone else. And Crosby is absolutely in that tier.
Yeah. And it's just amazing to think that you would talk about, oh my gosh, we may be better right away. We're going to be so much better against the run. And then you would turn around and try to swing a deal. Now, Again, what the Cowboys would say is, well, we didn't have to give up nearly as much as what we gained in the Micah trade. So we're still ahead. And we've also added this elite pass rusher. Let me put a percentage on this, since I've kind of watched these things happen so much over the years. And by the way, thank you, Central National Bank. Boy, thank you for what you do. So many exciting things coming up. But thank you for your just constant support of the Mosley Show over the years. There is only about, now again, I preface this with, until the very end, I thought they would find a way to get something done with Micah Parsons, and that thing went the other direction. There's only about a 3% chance of this happening with Max Crosby. The only reason I even give it any chance is not so much of like their desperate need of a pass rusher or, oh, this one player puts them over the top. It's just because in the past 7 years, they did something like this. For years, the trade deadline, there was not, I guess you can go back to, Herschel Walker and all that many years ago, and even Charles Haley. And again, that was a different era. But in the more recent era, they did the deal with Amari. They did that deal when a season was absolutely getting away from them, and they stupidly had entered the season trying to tell people, yeah, we think we can make it work at wide receiver with like Tavon Austin and the Pips. Like there was nobody. Like even he was not a big name. He's like the only guy I can think of. Maybe that was involved in that. They literally tried to roll into a season with just nobody at receiver. Was Randall Cobb? No, I think it was even before Randall Cobb was involved. There was just nobody and it was a crazy deal to do. And they realized, oh my gosh, okay, we have no shot unless we go get a real wide receiver. And they did. They gave him a first round pick. They got Amari Cooper, and he immediately helped them, and they came back and won the division. Now, are the Cowboys one player away? Well, it depends on what you're talking about. I don't think they're one player away from making a serious Super Bowl run. I do think, like, it's hard not to watch how up and down and unreliable this division is with the likes of the Commanders, Giants, and Eagles, and not think that one like major pass rusher couldn't interject some more life into this team. Yeah, they played better against the Commanders, as I think Scotty would be quick to inject here. Commanders had no wide receivers, and they got the quarterback hurt in that game, and so you weren't playing the full tilt Commanders. That said, Russell Wilson and others have just lit this team up. Caleb Williams and the Bears. Several quarterbacks of varying degrees. Bryce Young. Rico Dowdle lit this team up. By the way, on a side note, Scotty, I'm sure you saw that. The Panthers started Chuba Hubbard. Just like, welcome back, Chuba. Never mind that Rico Dowdle has had 2 back-to-back best weeks in the history of this franchise. But Chuba, you can't lose your starting spot, so here you are. Chuba Hubbard in that game the other day, and they beat the godforsaken, was it the Jets? I think they beat the Jets 13-6. Hubbard had 14 carries for 31 yards. Rico had 17 carries for 79 yards and about 4.5 yards a carry. If you do the math on what Chuba Hubbard had, it was about 2.8 yards per carry. So, doesn't make much sense to me. But just staying on this Cowboys thing, let's monitor it. Let's monitor this thing. We'll look at it, and then to start the 2:00 hour, we want to do some Campus Confidential coming up. But to start the 2:00 hour, and we're Cam Stewart's going to join us in the 2. We've got some college stuff to talk about. We got some Baylor stuff. He's going to jump in, and we'll get Cam's thoughts on some things. I saw some headline. Scotty, is Cam worried about like realignment or something? Did you see somebody sent me a Cam headline. I think it was his Locked On Baylor. And now we're worried about a realignment. Not that realignment can't crop up at any point, but apparently we're now worried Baylor may. Oh my gosh. Is it not bad enough? We're worried Baylor may get like relegated. Baylor may not, the next round of realignment, Baylor's going to get left behind because the defense is playing poorly. I am interested in hearing what Cam has to say on that front. But about 2:00 today, we'll dig in and hear from Jerry Jones on the Cowboys because he had some things he said on Trayvon Diggs and about this trade thing that I want to respond to. All right, Scotty, let's get ready. Let's do some Campus Confidential, some of the big stories in college football today. And, man, there's some more firings on the way. There's more firings on the way. Florida State's loading up. They're getting ready to do this. Auburn's getting ready to do it. Florida's already done it. I mean, there are firings coming, okay? Are there any happening in the Big 12? We discuss next.